Okay, folks, happy Monday evening. We're going to turn this video around here in a second. Let me just get this, turned around. Okay, now we'll flip this. I need to be able to see it so I can get the orientation correct. Yeah, the delay on this actually is not really long. Oh, dumbass. I have to flip the camera thing too. All right. Hey, I just paint things. This video stuff is not my forte. In case you couldn't tell. Although I do remember watching somebody who did a video similar to the kind of videos that I used to do, and after watching him, I thought the guy was like needed to be on suicide watch. I was like, man, this guy is in bad shape. This guy's in bad shape. All right, let's get some light up here, and let's clean this area of all of these colors that are just all trying to vie for my attention. Let's put all these guys. The musty, dusty dusters. Musty, dusty dusters. Does that mean something? Is that like your gang or something? Caught your stream today. Here you are. I got started a little later than I normally do, but wife and I were watching some programs, and you gotta spend some time with, you gotta spend time with people you live with, or things aren't gonna work out too well. And it's another activity I get to do. It's not like, what'd you do? I came home from work and I painted. No, I get to do other things too. So I am from yesterday. I'm the man from yesterday. I'm from the past. Yeah, I know what you mean. Card counters. You get thrown out of Vegas for that, I hear. Your family was watching the Home Improvement show. Which is the Home Improvement show? Like the old comedy Home Improvement show? Or like Bob Vila? Or all these new things that they have, the house flippers. And we have a budget of $5 million. I'm a pet groomer, and she does edible arrangements. Like, no. Yeah, for drug dealers. I don't really have that kind of money. Oh, it's in California. Okay. Well, it's $5 million isn't the same. The old Home Improvement show? I used to watch that way back in the day when it was on, like live, like in the 90s. And we used to watch his sitcom. We try to go back and watch the old ones. I don't like the old show now. You got 3 subs today at my school. I know I'm on the cusp of 2,000. What should I do when I get 2,000 subscribers? Somebody's gonna say shave your head, and I don't know. No. Do you have any? I know you're young. Okay, that doesn't matter. You behave well, so you're welcome here. There's you have any friends that subscribe to stuff that you're like, man, what the hell you're watching? It's like, man, I wouldn't watch that if I were you. You should show, show my collection. Well, I need to get something done. I am going to do a video of it though. I'm going to do a video of it because it actually hasn't taken a long time to do it. You know, I got a lot of stuff done, and I just didn't get a lot of stuff done this weekend. I mean, I only finished this, and I'm almost done with this one. That's pretty freaking lame. I should have been able to do better than that, you know? I should have been able to do better than that. I do need to look at the back of this and see if I've got the license plate thing right, because I don't think I do. Um, I don't think I do. Let's see. I like YouTube and I like people that show what they do on YouTube, but I don't like people whose um, all they do is do a little dance or something like that, you know. Like, yeah, people are watching that because you're cute. That's the only, you know, just people that just, they haven't worked a long time harnessing a skill or something. I don't know. What am I looking for? I'm looking for SDKFZ, Special Purpose Vehicle. That's what it stands for. 251 rear images. You guys don't know how blessed you are that you have the internet to look up things like this. You don't have to subscribe to like a bunch of encyclopedias. Encyclopedia salesmen hated the internet, you know, or people that sell phone books or like advertising in phone books. Like you're screwed. Did they even make? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's actually not part of it. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and repaint that. Yeah, that's not part of it. Okay, cool. No worries, mate. Uh, no, surprising that my friends don't. Although you still got stuff done. By the way, I'm gonna have to go in 3 minutes because my bedtime's at 8:30. Well, good for your parents, man. Tell them they're doing a good job. We had a strict bedtime with my daughter too, and what it does is when you get older, you have a routine. A routine's important. 8:30 is pretty early, but that's okay. You know, so it got to when my daughter was young, well, actually, until maybe 2 years ago, she just wouldn't sleep in. So it's super handy if like we're gonna go to a theme park or something. All right, we gotta get up at 5, and she's like, ready to go. You know, instead of like sleeping in your weekend, wasting your weekend. It's good to have a routine. It's good to be disciplined. I know too many people that let their kids just do whatever the hell they want, and that's unacceptable. Where's this dark yellow? Here we go. Your friends go to bed at 9, which is crazy. My daughter used to have friends that didn't have a bedtime. That's crazy. That's crazy. I also found out that I started 7 years ago on YouTube. That's it. I should have been doing this a lot longer. Well, I found out that I need some kind of accompaniment. I need some kind of interaction so that I don't fall asleep while I'm doing this. It's not that this is boring, it's just super relaxing, you know, and it's like anti stressful. But we do want to accomplish things. So bringing other people along keeps me from just like, I'm done after 5 minutes. I mean, there's times where I've gone and I'm 17 minutes in. I'm like, I'm going to ready to stop because there's nobody here. And I don't mind talking to myself. I talk to myself the whole time, Not like a crazy person because you guys are on here, but you guys do interact, and it makes a difference. If you're by yourself, you're like, I could just go do something else. I used to listen to radio, then the radio got boring. Then I listened to CDs, and then you spend most of your time when you're listening to CDs changing to the next song, and you don't get anything done. And I was listening to talk radio, but I'm not interested in politics or sports. That's what I needed to repaint over that. And then books on tape. I was when I was painting up dinosaurs, I was listening to Jurassic Park, the book, not the movie. I can't watch a movie and do this. You have ADHD and music helps me. No, we have Apple Music, but it's too relaxing. ADHD didn't exist when I was a kid. You know what they did back then? People just slap you. Pay attention, kid. I'm not sure that's the solution, but that's what they used to do. Wait, I did dinosaurs? Yeah, you want to see one? I wish I could show you what it looked like before. All it is this is a toy. And some of these things, they're super cheap, but they're cast really well. Let me show you my Stegosaurus. Damn it, man. That's not supposed to happen. Stay here. This is like, you can get 3 of these for like $10 or $8 or something like that. I don't know if it's going to come out worth a damn in the picture. You wait for the video to catch up so I can tell whether it's... Yeah, this is literally plastic. Made in China. That's the color it was. Underneath there, look at his belly button. It's basically like flesh colored. And we just repainted the whole thing. And painted his eye and everything. And we did kind of a staining technique on it. But as I want a game where you play dinosaurs and you battle other dinosaurs. But you can't do everything. And this is at a scale. This would be like maybe the size of like Warhammer figures. Probably be about right. What's up, Justin? I also donate you $5 through Super Chat. Nah, get your friends to watch this stuff, man. They'll learn. I don't need your money. I'm not one of those people that... what's that thing that everybody wants to do? Patreon. Come on, man. The problem with accepting people's money then is that then you feel guilty. And then you feel like you need to do what they ask you to do. And it's not that I don't want to do anything you guys ask me to do, but I have my own agenda. And we got to get that done. Man, I'm having trouble. I'm snarfing things, I guess. Dinosaurs versus the half tracks. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people are willing to do things like that. That's fine, but I don't like asking for money. I don't like asking for money. Fortunately, I don't need it, but I used to play this game that it's a tournament type game, right? But you don't really win anything. I mean, you can. So when I first started playing this game, what people started doing is they would ask $5 as a registration fee, and they would get $5 from each person. All right, man, we'll see you tomorrow. They get $5 from each person, and then they would collect it, and then they would go to one of the vendors because they had this at a game convention, and they said, okay, I got this $70 from these people. I want a gift certificate that's for $40, and then one that's for 20 and one is for 10. And they would give those things out as prizes. But I don't like asking people for money. Obviously, I'm not going to donate the $70 for free. Like, I'm already putting everything together. Like, I didn't show up to, be your bitch either, But then the problem is it's a lot of work for the organizer. I feel bad asking people for money. And then, the people that are really dedicated to this game and practice a lot win all the time. So, do I really want to take $5 from somebody that's just learning how to play the game? No. So I didn't go that route. I'm like, I'm just going to make these awards. They're they cost me about, I don't know, $3 a piece, $2 a piece, and labor more than anything else. And I'll just give them away for free. You know. Yeah, they're raising a good kid. You know, his bedtime is at 8:30. That's I don't know anybody who does that. I mean, my daughter's bedtime might have been 8:30 when she was 7 or 8. I don't remember, but she always had a bedtime. None of this you can stay up till the middle of. You just develop bad habits now. She had other people that they went over to the house and the kids just, let them do whatever the hell they wanted to do. And then you move out and then you can do whatever you want. And then you stay up till 3 in the morning and then you become, get into your 40s. You're like, fuck that shit. That ain't worth it. I used to be a night owl. Not no more. Ain't worth it. Map plays. More tanks? No, these are half tracks, dude. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to do. We got a lot of stuff to do. At some point, we need to go back and do some figures. We got to do some figures because my vehicles aren't bad, but my figures are better than the vehicle. The figures just have personality. They just do. Oh, I need to put analytics up. Think that's how. I think that's why I do it. Go to analytics, and then I can tell how many people are on from this screen. I mean, I can't tell who they are, but we're gonna say 4 on here. 3 got close. Damn it! Tried to be optimistic. Yeah, we need like 2 more subscribers and we get big 2,000. You fall asleep at 9:30 p.m. now. Yeah, I know how it is. I do the same thing. Sometimes it's just not worth staying up for. If there's something worth staying up for, sure, but frequently there isn't. All right, so we got the interior of this thing painted. I'm a little bummed out that we put the platoon leader's weapon, which is a 37 millimeter gun, little 37 millimeter anti-tank gun, on there, and I'm a little disappointed. I found out that the inside of this half track isn't the regular troop carrier version. They've got like area for ammo and stuff like. I'm not going to scratch build all that stuff, but one of the models that I did watch Robin Williams on golf right after we left. We went and watched that. We need to do a little the Balkan Kreutz on here, and I'm not going to put it down here. I'm going to put it here on the side, just to be different. I did watch him, and it was pretty funny. But man, that's a funny man, but he was on some cocaine. I'm just saying. I mean, he's got a lot of energy. I mean, Jolt Cola doesn't get you there. But then I like that kind of comedy. Like I don't like watching stuff like that movie that everybody raved about. Not everybody raved, but too many people raved about it for what it was. Napoleon Dynamite. I'm like, you can't make a fucking movie out of awkward pauses. Well, apparently they did. I'm like, that shit isn't funny. Like, I like people that are high energy. There's a guy, Tritarch. Yeah, Tritarch. Do you have? Because I know Justin doesn't, and that's okay. Justin doesn't watch television, and you're not missing much. Do you have? I think it's on Netflix. Do you have Netflix? George Carlin is fucking great. Carlin is great. Hmm. There's a comedian we kind of stumbled across that's really funny. I didn't think he was going to be worth a damn, but we gave him 10 minutes. My wife's like, "Oh, we'll give him 10 minutes." We watched the whole show, but he was like old school. He wasn't afraid of saying things that people would say. No, you canceled 2 years ago. Shit. Um, Maybe you could find him. Anyways, this comedian called. He just did a special like last year. His name is Andrew Andrew Schultz, and it was pretty funny. It was really pretty funny. Um, yeah, I don't really watch it much. You know, you got Prime. You know, if you're gonna have one of them, Prime is the best one to have. It has more things on it. You know, you're gonna get the free shipping with Amazon anyways, right? Have Prime. Hulu. Well, we just watched Hulu tonight because it's a we're watching a show that's I think it's being played now, but we don't have the channel. I think we have Hulu, we have Prime, and we have Netflix. And I'm trying to watch stuff with the wife frequently because, but she's difficult to watch things with, and she'll admit it. You know, I mean, I wish she was in the kissy kissy historical stuff because stuff like the historical drama stuff because I want it for the history stuff. Andrew Dice Clay. Hey, he needed the money. Man, that was in high school. Little Boy Blue. Yeah, my brother wanted to go see him. I'm like, I don't want to see that now. I mean, it's what's in that bowl, bitch? Um, no, but it was kind of cool watching a new kind of comedian that wasn't like afraid of shit. I'm like, instead of like, oh, we can't talk about that. We can't talk about this. We can't talk about that. Oh, so all we can talk about is weird sexual perversions. That's like anybody ever talks about. I'm like, fucking weird, man. So that means you can't watch any comedy with like your parents, the people you're like really comfortable with. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I actually got on the chat early. There you go. The girlfriend has Crunchyroll. Of course she does. All the anime stuff, which I could take or leave. I'm picky towards anime. Is there an anime that you think I would like? Because I think anime is just a wasted opportunity. I mean, it just doesn't speak to me, man. A lot of it is just like really weird, like made by people that are never going to get laid. Your parents introduced you to Richard Pryor. Well, my favorite cartoon growing up was Battle of the Planets, and that's probably the first anime out there. And it was changed from how it was in Japan. It was supposed to like be a lot darker in Japan, and like supposedly all the superheroes end up dying. Like, whoa, oh, we can't have that in America. But the anime with World War II tanks, but it's freaking what's that? Girls Panza or something like that. That's like an Asian. That's got Asian wearaboo written all over it. I'm gonna put we're gonna put a big ass Balkan Kreutz right here. Not big ass, but bigger. You get your big ass Balkan Kreutz. out of here. Girls und Panzer. Never saw that. What's the one with the spaceship Yamato or whatever? I mean, you guys play video games, right? I mean, some of you play video games, and you guys play either Dynasty Warriors or what's the other one? Samurai Warriors. You know, those things are cheesy, but I like those. Those are kind of anime-ish. Um, I'm a fan of those games, but there's some, historicalness to them. We just want this big enough. I've been able to do the crosses pretty damn consistent. I got used to being over there. Let me see if this comes out okay, where you can see it. That's hand painted. And the reason I have been able to do it pretty consistent is I just want the white wide enough that it's going to be wider than the black. So if you can imagine that, okay, you have this idea of how wide the black is going to be. Paint the white a little bit wider than that. So then you put the black in and you got a little bit of white showing on each edge. And then you can kind of frame it. And it's worked pretty well. Um, you don't spend a shitload of money on decals and wait for them to come in. Sam Kinison, Eddie Murphy. Yeah. Dynasty Warriors is cheesy but fun. Do you get anything from Green Stuff Works? I haven't. Kingdom Under Fire. Ghost in the Shell. Appleseed anime. That sounds like something that would be Appleseed. Johnny Appleseed. That reminds me of something that'd be on Schoolhouse Rock. Um, Ghost in a Shell. Isn't that movie that was made with what's her face in it? That doesn't do. She doesn't do anything for me. I don't like Johansson. I don't like her lips. She got funky lips. Okay, I think that's pretty close. This you got to be careful because I'm putting it over a camouflage scheme. So if I fuck it up, I've got to fix the camouflage scheme underneath. All right, I think that's good enough to just drop the black down. Trust me, the anime is far better than the movie. Another anime of my childhood, it was a bit obscure, as Dominion Tank Police. See, the only ones I'm familiar with are things that I would not are not traditionally Japanese. Okay, so the Battle of the Plants. Well, I guess that one could kind of be. Um, my brother used to watch that one that's actually French. What's that? Mysterious Cities of Gold. This is like from like 1986. So it's pretty old, technically. Which another one? My daughter watched the Avatar, Last Airbender. I liked the art in that. The storyline was like I could take it or leave it, but at least it had good art. I liked the style it was done in. Um, have I seen anything else? We used to have this ice cream place we would go to all the time that was next to this Pan Asian little restaurant. Um, and they had this place this where you could do like your soft serve yogurt and put fruit and stuff on it or whatever. It was called mochi, and they always had this anime that was going up on the. And I don't know what it was, but it had like this creature that looked like a. It looked like death. It was like this death creature. It wasn't a scary creature, but it was like this death that would follow this guy around. I don't know what the hell it was about because the sound wasn't on, but I mean it looked okay. But I'm like, You Japanese guys could do a lot better shit. Avatar is technically Western anime. Okay. Mandalorian is supposed to be Western Star Wars. So, do you guys ever watch what's the cartoon thing that is actually stylistically, I liked it a lot. Story written is terrible. I thought it was written really, really bad. It was really like a sitcom on the Disney Channel where has so much canned laughter and none of it is funny. Obviously, it wasn't humorous, but it was just kind of like awkward. Maybe George Lucas did involve because he writes things and they're weird. But that was the Clone Wars one. Clone Wars, the way Clone Wars looks, I think looks spectacular. I think it looks really, really good. It's sharp. It's not grainy or you shaky. You know what I mean? So the sci-fi and feudal Japan animes, the fantasy ones, and high school drama that I used to watch to get overdone and very bland. There's feudal Japan anime. I've never seen it. There should be. I mean, feudal Japan is freaking cool, man. That'd be like, if they made like anime in like Britain, okay, and there was never anything about knights. Like, how the hell can there not be anything about knights? You know? Like you take the most interesting thing about your society and you just throw it away. Like, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do powdered wig anime, but we're not gonna do knights. Screw that. I've never seen feudal Japan anime. I totally would check that out. And then be like, man, that guy's. I hate that guy. And then come to find out in real life, I actually liked what that guy did, but they portrayed him in a weird way. Remember, right? You enjoyed watching Battle of the Planet series years ago. That's anime. I saw one of the first ones. I loved it. I loved it as a kid. I freaking loved it. I watched that in the late '70s in Alabama, and I liked it. I mean, it had aliens in it, but what I liked about it is there was always some kind of monster that they had to fight, some machine, and and it was a machine that looked like a creature that was really on Earth, like a big flying armadillo or a turtle or a octopus or something. It wasn't just like some random thing. Yeah, that actually I really like that a lot. But I understand that it was the Japanese version was more violent, and they actually added in the little R2D2 character in between the sequences and due to the Star Wars influence. So I think Battle of the Planets was done. Well, Battle of the Planets is the Americanized version. Whatever the Ninja Team Gotcha Man, whatever it was called, was done in the early '70s, and they got brought to America and they added all that other stuff in there in the late '70s. So there's a period of about 7 or 8 years in there between the time it actually came out and the time that it was reformatted for the American audience. But supposedly in the original series, all the kids die. I mean, not like right off the bat. I think at the end or something like that. Yeah, I come home from school and watch that every day. That was my favorite cartoon. The original Johnny Quest, which I didn't see a whole lot of them. I don't think it was really I like Johnny Quest. My dad liked Johnny Quest too. That was one of the me and my dad watching things. That and Hogan's Heroes. I can even remember which way the TV was facing in that house in Huntsville. And I think at the end of watching one of my shows, that damn demon seed came up. I remember seeing demon, like, well, you're like 7, 8 years old. I don't want to see something demon, something like, what the fuck. Yeah, original Johnny Quest. That's right. The one that had the one that had Mike Pence in it. Race Bannon and Haji. Haji was racist. Oh, so it would have been better if they didn't have an Indian character in it. Okay, well we can do that. Bandit. The dog's name was Bandit. That's right. I love subtitles. I love subtitles. Look, I got used to watching a Japanese guy being voiced by Casey Kasem. I can pretty much. I don't like dubbed things. You know. I don't like dubbed things. I much prefer subtitles. I want to hear somebody go, "You fuck up now." How are you supposed to know what the hell Japanese sounds like if you never hear Japanese? Every time I've tried to turn one on, it's like, and even Japanese movies, like, okay, well, like, why do I want to see like schoolgirls and zombies stuff? Like, no, it's like do some feudal stuff, man. I prefer subtitles in original Japanese language any day to get the context. Absolutely. Because there's always like some weird things on it, like they'll have some badass hero and they have him voiced by some guy who's a tenderloin. Yeah, I got a problem with you, man. A tenderloin. I've never used that before. That's going to be a new one. Nerd burglars and tenderloins. No, no, I did not see the new Shogun series because everybody has said good things about it. Okay? Everybody has said good things about it, but it takes place like in the same period that the Tom Cruise movie takes place in, right? Which I'm not interested. I want to see like, I want to see like 1000, 1100, 1200, 1300, 1400, 1500, maybe 1600 AD when it takes place in. I don't want to see freaking firearms and shit. I want to see like, you got these feudal guys that are, you got these heroes and stuff that are, sometimes they're loyal, sometimes they're free agents. Ever tried Vallejo 1940 45 paints? So let me tell you a little bit about Vallejo and why I hate them. And I'm using Vallejo paints. What I hate about their business model. It's a pain in the ass to figure out whether or not I have the color. Because I have all the Vallejo colors, or I had all of the Vallejo colors in the early 2000s when they first came on the scene, or I first found out about them. They were all imported through Brookhurst Hobbies in California, or at least that's where I got my copy of them. And then they started adding these sets of, even before they did the Flames of War sets, because they do Flames of War specific things, but the Flames of War specific things, some of them have using these same colors, like literally it'll have these colors and they're in there, and it's like, hey, use this for the Germans and use this one for the other one, and it comes with a bottle of each one. And they also make their like Panzer colors or whatever, and they're ones that have other names, and you're wondering, is that a different color, but it's just reformulated, but then you can't buy them individually? They just make a mess out of everything. And like, I'm not going to buy any of them because I have a feeling that I already have them. And I don't need this many colors. I just got them because what am I going to do with this couple $100 that I got from selling my stuff? Well, let's just buy paints. These droppers was incredible in the year 2000 when I first found out about them. Oh, I could just use a tiny little bit, you know. So that's why I got them. No reason other than that. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Um, this is a series set around the Battle of Sekigahara. Okay. Well, it might be okay. Shogun. Is that on Netflix? I think it is, isn't it? So there are firearms around Sekigahara. I don't know if I said that right. And then those Koei or Koei made all those games, Nobunaga's Ambition and this, that, and the other. Oh, Nobunaga didn't get where he wanted to go. No Nobunaga for Nobunaga. I got a call. I can catch you on the next one. All right. Sorry, I think it was FX on Hulu. The best thing on Hulu, I saw it on Hulu. I don't know if it's on Hulu anymore. But one of the best shows that I've seen. There's a couple shows that are just like they're different, right? They're just different. Like, yeah, this show, yeah, it's predictable. And then you run across something that's just like this is totally different than anything I've ever seen. And it was this show that somebody told me about that I really liked, and it was called something like The Booth in the Back or something like that. And then it stars Xander Berkeley. If you don't know who Xander Berkeley is, you just don't know him by name, but he's the guy who played Mason on 24, and he ended up playing. He's the new boyfriend um, of Liam Neeson's character on Taken. He's just an older guy or whatever. And it is a really cool series because basically the theme of it is that he plays this guy that people can come to with problems. I'm going to tell you kind of a little rundown on it, and I'm not going to spoil anything on it, but it's almost like an independent little film. And I think the episodes are an hour long, or 42 minutes, or I forget which one it is. Whether it's the hour with commercials, I don't. It never had commercials on it. And it all takes place in a diner. So you think, well, that's really boring. Well, he sits at this booth all the way in the back, and these people come to him with problems for him to solve. So you'll have somebody that'll say like, I've got this boy, and he was born paralyzed, and I want him to walk, and they ask him these questions. They're like, is there anything? I hear you can do things for people. And he's like, well, let me see. So he looks through this book that looks like a Bible. You never see what's written on the book. He flips a couple pages, comes back, and it's almost like this is done like in an interview. The filming, I like the way it's done really well. And he'll say something like, you gotta find another kid, and you gotta basically kill him. So then it's one of these things like, how far are you willing to go to make your dreams come true, kind of thing. And sometimes the episodes, different people on that episode, their stories will intertwine. It's really, really interesting. It's done really, really well. It's not creepy at all. You don't see any of the violence. So it's not like they show somebody strangling somebody, you know. It's people kind of report back, and it all takes place in this diner. And it's really, really well done. And it's thought provoking. It makes you like think, you know. Um, I highly recommend it. I was recommended by somebody that that has good recommendations. Um, some people they've recommend this particular person's recommended like games. Like, yeah, man, I really do like that game, you know. And I don't know if it's still playing, but it's thought provoking. I think it had a couple seasons in it, whatever. But that's what I like. I like stuff that kind of makes you think. That's stuff that you're trying to like makes your head hurt think. But and then maybe it's not your cup of tea. Like I was watching that one movie, a movie that every single person said was great. Actually, there's been several of those, and I watched it and I'm like, this is not a movie for me. This is not my kind of a movie. And that movie is Inception. And I couldn't stand Inception. I couldn't get into it. Um, I also hated the death of Stalin. Everybody loves the death of Stalin, and I hated the death of Stalin because of the accents. Well, the accents were done on purpose. Well, whoever decided to do that was a fucking moron. Sorry. And again, it's one of those movies that, oh, I like all the actors, but why did they have them do this? Because there have been things that I don't like because, oh man, they got this person in them. Well, they're, what do we call them? What was the word we just came up for them? A tenderloin. You pussyfoot tenderloin. Booth in the back, the booth at the end, something like that. I think it makes you think. And it's not creepy at all. It's not like, oh, this guy's you never find out what this guy is. It's like, is he the devil? I don't know what he is. It's irrelevant, but it's like this whole catalyst of like, how far are you willing to do this? Which honestly, I don't watch horror movies, but I've seen the whole Saw series so far. And I'm gonna keep watching it because it's kind of like, what are you willing to do? And I know it's way over the top and and gory and it can be gory, but it's the reason I find it interesting because it's like, okay, what are you willing to do? You want to lose an arm or you want to lose a foot? Yeah, it doesn't bother me because it's like, even if there was somebody like that in real life that went after people, like those people like did stuff I would never do. Like, rip people off, cheat people out of money. Like I don't do shit like that in real life. So I'm safe. They're not gonna put me in one of those things where it's like, hey, you gotta gnaw your arm off or the leg. Like I'm safe. I don't do shit like that. You want to play a game? No, I'm just gonna watch. Saw movies are sweet. What washes are your favorite? Well, right now it's this one. It's Strong Tone. I've recommended the first Saw movie to everybody. When the last scene of the first Saw movie, I'm watching it by myself, and I'm like, motherfuck. Oh my, that was like incredible. I was like, damn, Pete. And every movie after that is worse and worse and shittier and shittier and shittier. But the first one, I think the first. Now, I did not care for the freaking pig mask thing, like jumping up and like startling you, okay, which happens a couple times in that movie. Didn't care for that shit, okay? But the ending of the first one is is incredible, incredible, incredible. And I probably would have, had it not been spoiled for, had it not been spoiled for me, I probably would have liked, well, I wouldn't have watched the movie because honestly, it's creeped the shit out of me. The Village, the turn, the twist in The Village, really, I would have been like, son of a, you know. But they spoiled it for me. They told me what was going to happen, which is good because you put me in a situation where people are wearing those kind of masks, and I'm like, I'm not watching that shit because that's the stuff that bothers me. Demonic masks and shit like that. What wash is it? It is, well, you do Army Painter stuff. It is Army Painter Quick Shade Strong Tone. And I've tried, oh, I'm an idiot. I'm looking at the computer here because that's where I'm reading the stuff. But the camera's here. My bad. Strong Tone. This should be available everywhere. And I use that one and the light tone for the rusty bits. What are the three rusty bits? Light tone, soft tone, and the one that's like a brown. What's it called? Mid brown. I use those for the rusty colors. But every vehicle has strong tone on it. It just adds another filter of colors. And depending on what it is, I might put it down pretty thin. I don't want it to be, really dark because I end up having to dry brush over it anyways to bring the color back up. But it adds another little, it adds some depth to it. Okay, there's one there. And we'll do the same on this side. Yeah, you should use them. And, the strong tone I apply as is. These other ones, I add a little bit of water and tinker with them a little bit. I just basically use them for streaking and stuff like that. They work really well. Some of them are thicker than others. Some of them are more gel-like than others. I want to say light tone is really kind of thick. Mid brown is the thinnest one. Soft tones in the middle. The light tone, for whatever reason, is really goopy. But you can just have a little bit of water, thin them down a little bit, just a little bit, just to get them to flow. Use a small brush, and you can add little streaks. And I've been really happy and they're very forgiving. Oh, I don't like how it turned out. Just wipe it off. You know. Um, I think forgiving is important because if something's really unforgiving, I find myself going like, well, I better not take a chance on this because I'm not going to fix it. But if it's something like, oh, well, I could try this and there's no harm, no foul, well, I might try to be adventurous and actually learn a new skill or find some new product that I like to use. So for me, I think I think it's important to have something that's user friendly. And it forces me to. I like that I use different products. I'm using craft paint. I use Vallejo. I use the Army Painter Quick Shade. I use some Ammo MIG stuff. I got some other stuff that's AK. All acrylics though. That is the one common denominator. I don't want to get into enamels. I would have tried this and actually this panel line from Tamiya, but it's an enamel thing. Oh, here again, I'm thinking it's the camera over there. So supposedly I have to cover this entire thing with an acrylic clear coat. It can't be an enamel clear coat because it'll react with it. I have to do an acrylic clear coat, wait for it to dry, and then I can use that. And then clear coat over it. It's like I'm just adding other steps. I don't mind clear coating it. I want to do that at the end. I already have a slow enough process. I don't need to make it even slower. And really, the steps aren't the issue. The problem is if you're basically in a holding pattern because whatever step you're on right now involves you having to wait for it to dry. That's why dry brushing isn't a big deal. You could just dry brush to your heart's content, right? Dry brush this and then dry brush the other thing. And then after that, it's not a big deal because you could literally, I mean, I can dry brush something and hold it while I'm dry brushing it and the stuff won't come off. You know, but if when you're using something that's too wet or something along that nature, that you gotta like, oh man, I gotta wait 30 minutes for it to dry. Like, what do I do? Well, I start working on something different. You dry brush primer on miniature faces, dry brush skin color, and wash. That's it. What are you doing, 15s or 28s? I've said before, you got to do whatever you're happy with, you know? You may not be happy with how I do things. Like, man, you take too long. Well, I could. And there's people that take even longer than I do. So I'm not really a fan of these how-to guys. Like, if you're doing it, if you're not doing it like me, you're doing it wrong. Well, who the hell made you king of the world, you know? What happened with let people, maybe maybe you have a good method, but people don't have the patience or don't want to spend the amount of time or, it's their hobby. They get to do it however they want to. There you go. Just bump you into 2K mark. Did you? Are you Mr. 2K? You're not going to crash my channel because of 2K. I will have to do some kind of fun video, like get some clowns come in here and violate me or something. What? Why me? Why are so many people afraid of clowns? I wouldn't be afraid of somebody that's goofy. We're just doing what we're doing. This isn't a shock channel. If it was a shock channel, I'd go over to Mitch's house and we have like this, like wrestling. We'd have like this argument, or whatever, and you'd get it on film, and there'd be like all this drama behind. Like, stop. It's too much trouble. It's too much trouble being somebody, trying to be somebody you're not. The most famous person I've ever met would be Phil Barker. Technically, he'd probably be the most famous person I've ever met. But the second famous person I ever met is this one guy who meaning I talked to him for about 15 minutes, and he does car reviews on YouTube, and he's got millions of subscribers. I know it's not Scotty. But this guy does really good car reviews. And what I really liked about him is that he acts the same way in real life as he does in the video. And I value that shit a lot. Like, I don't like people that like pretend to be one way and you see them in real life. They're like, yeah, or whatever, or back asswards, or, whatever. And, nobody asked for his autograph or anything. It's just cool that he does car reviews and stuff. But pretending to be somebody that you're not, that's just too much work, man. Remember the clown from MTV in the 80s? There was a clown on MTV? Wow, I don't remember that. I remember when they played music on MTV. That was a long time ago. What was the name of that chick that was on MTV that was super hot? Kari Wurr. She was hot. we're kicking it like it's 1988 or 89 or something like that, 90, 91, something like that. Probably OD'd or something. And something. Oh man, where is? I think we do a little bit more black lighting on here. That's back when I was young and music was important. It's not important anymore. Doesn't mean I don't listen to it. It's just not important. Yucko the Clown. That sounds like something like what's that name of that damn kids show on Nickelodeon? I know what you did last summer. That's what I was gonna say. You can't do that on television. That sounds like something off of You Can't Do That on Television. Yucko the Clown. Or The Simpsons. Krusty's evil brother, Yucko the Clown. He never washes. You unwashed clown. Yes, that's my shtick. Leave me alone. Speaking of anime, remember what was that show that was on? God, what was that show on MTV? Liquid, was it Liquid Television? And they had that Eon Flux, the show with all the anorexic people. And those people were really anorexic. I want to say I saw, because it was always like it'd show little clips of it. It was all in this jumbled order. But I want to say I want to say I saw the actual that whole anime played in order. It still didn't make that much more sense, but I don't know if that'd be considered Western anime or not, but definitely some anorexic people on that show. I think all the male characters probably would have weighed like 125 pounds or something like that. Like I don't know if I've ever weighed 125 pounds. That's like you fall over kind of thing. Do you have this shirt in small? Sorry, sir. Small isn't a man's size, or medium. I don't know about Yucko the Clown. All right, I'm gonna look up what Yucko the Clown is, and maybe if I see a picture of it, I'll be like, oh, that thing. Remember, I didn't watch MTV till about 1988, probably. So if it's pre '88, Yucko, Yucko the Clown. I don't know Yucko the Clown. I know Bill the Cat. Never seen Yucko the Clown before. He does interviews or something like that. Yucko the Clown's character is a perverted clown who hits on women, makes comments about their breasts, and usually says something offensive and stupid. Never seen that before. Sounds like something to be like, what's that little hand puppet on Conan? Reminds me of something like that. For me to poop on. Sounds like something like that. I never watch those late night shows. They're too late. Like, dude, I'm asleep. And you can watch them now. You can watch, reruns and all that stuff's on the internet now. But back in the day, I had a friend of mine who was really into Letterman. I'm like, when the hell do you watch Letterman? It doesn't even come on till like freaking midnight 30 or something like that. Like, good Lord. Like, that's late as shit, Celebrity Deathmatch. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I tell you what, I've seen some episodes of Robot Chicken that are pretty fucking funny. And they're funny because they're toys brought to life that say inappropriate things. Okay, I think we are nearly done with this one. 1,000 Ways to Die. Never seen that. No, I only watched MTV probably from 87, 88 until 91, 92. I moved out. I didn't have cable. Like, how are you going to watch MTV without cable? Until I found your channel over a year ago, I assumed it was the last in the U.S. that gained World War II 20 millimeter and tactical scale. No, there's a couple. There's two others of us. The reason I do this scale, since you brought that up, some people are like, why don't you do 28 millimeter? Because I never played anything in 28 millimeter. I never played Warhammer or any of that stuff. I went to the store. We used to take trips to the store in Tampa, which is about an hour and a half away from us. We take road trips in the late 80s, early 90s, and they had these figures there. Called Combat Miniatures. Wow, the feed is way behind. What happened? It was like right on top of it. It was like a 7-second delay, and now it's like it still hasn't showed up on there. So, anyways, we used to go and I saw these. I saw these figures, and everyone hitched to dolly scale. That's right. Anything larger than 20 millimeters and you're playing with dollies. Somebody on the miniatures page said that, and people lost their fucking minds, and I love it. And I still remember that. This stuff right here. So I found these miniatures. This sculptor, which about the time that I found these was probably already dead. This British guy by the name of Dave Alsop. And I have a lot of trouble finding out information on him. I've never seen a picture of him. Easily the best sculptor I've ever seen in my entire life. Love, 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 love his stuff. And he cooperated with Old Glory. When Old Glory first started here in the States doing their 15 millimeter stuff, he sculpted a lot of their stuff. So he's got I can tell his style. Like, he's got some Austrian infantry Napoleonics that he did. He's got Ragged Rebels. And when Old Glory was doing these packs of 100 figures, and it would come with 25 different poses, he was one of the ones that did all of them. So I saw this guy's work, and I'd always done 1/72 scale as a kid. And I'm like, I want to game a skirmish game in 1/72 scale with these figures. These are the figures that actually pushed me into doing that. Because at the time, 28 millimeter was only Warhammer. They didn't have any historical 28 millimeter at all. They had some 25s that people still used, but 25s were kind of neither here or there, really big, but not a lot of different poses. And you've got 7 or 8 different guys in this pack, and every single one of them is different. Every single guy is different. So it's almost like a role-playing game. I mean, you don't role play it, but each guy has a different name. So that was the whole catalyst, was actually his work. And I was developing for our own use, our own skirmish rule set, and couldn't get anywhere because it was like somebody that at that time he didn't live in the same town that I did, and just never got anywhere. And then Face of Battle rules, I came across, I heard about them on the miniatures page around in the early 2000s, bought them, and I'm like, this is really close to what we wanted to do, because there's a lot of things that were really similar that I wanted to do. I wanted a percentile game. I don't want to roll d6s or 8s or 12s or none of that crap. I wanted something that was percentile. Percentile makes sense to me. And I wanted to play at an actual scale. I didn't want this guy that was, an inch tall, but he only could throw a grenade 3 inches away. Like, I don't want that kind of compression. Because the problem is okay, if you compress a ground scale, then you need to play with 10 millimeter buildings with 20 millimeter figures, right? Because otherwise you're like, I can't even throw this grenade across the room. It doesn't make sense. So, good thing about 20 millimeter figures is they're fitting in with 1/72nd. Combat Miniatures has a website. Well, now they do. Now they're back in production, but they disappeared. They disappeared. And they don't make everything, but I love them. 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 So, but I like the plastic figures too. I didn't think that. I'm like, I've had these figures since 1981. I've had these two guys since 1981 when I was a kid. These MPC figures, Desert Rats, and they paint up great. They paint up awesome. It never would have occurred to me to paint these guys, ever. Never. And now they've got surnames on them, got little grass on them and stuff. And I'm a little worried about how durable they are. I still am. I'm really concerned. I'm treating them like they're like a champagne flute that could break at any moment. But they paint up well. Whoever the hell what this sculptor was, they were freaking awesome. So 15 millimeter World War II started coming out about the time that I went to do this stuff, because I gotta be careful. We got this sheet of crooked spiders on there. I've had this thing for 30 years. You build a freaking aircraft, it doesn't come with the tail swastika. We don't want to get in trouble with a box on that one. Even though everybody knows that they're Nazi bastards. What was I saying? So 15 millimeter didn't, at that time, they were coming out with tanks in 15 millimeter with Old Glory was cooperating with the Command Decision rule set, which that's what I grew up playing, but we played it with Micro Armor. And they had that rule set, Old Glory, Command Decision, and Skytrex was coming up with tanks. And the Skytrex tanks had all kinds of soft details. See, I can understand if figures are kind of soft or wishy-washy looking, but vehicles need to have sharp edges, right? There's no reason that you have a roundish looking tank that's not supposed to be round. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but anyhow, so that's the story on 20 mil. So yeah, there's about 3 of us. So here's the problem with 20 mil, with doing 20 millimeter now. Almost everything new comes from the UK, but that was the case when I was doing 15s. So that really didn't change anything. Almost everything I want comes from the UK. So you got shipping issues. If I do find somebody at a flea market, I get a deal on it because I haven't moved in forever. And with 3D printing, that's kind of like the savior of it, because I can get it made in whatever scale I want. And I like 20 mil. Now, if somebody held a gun to my head and I couldn't stop them from holding a gun to my head and they said, you're not allowed to do 20 millimeter, what scale would I do? I'd do 15s. I would not do 28s, because 28s is too large for, when I'm playing on a 4x8 foot board with vehicles this size, I'm representing a battlefield that's about, and I'm saying this, about 100 meters by 200 meters, more or less. That's point blank range. That's point blank range for, for firefights, and stuff like that. So if I go to 28 millimeter, you know, now it's almost half as compressed. So I'd rather do 15s. And 15s now, there's enough different figure manufacturers that if I wanted to have, say, a couple German squads and none of the figures repeated, so in other words, a different pose for every single guy, and that's not really that necessary. You don't want to have five guys that look the same, because they're still going to end up having a little name. I would do 15 mil. I would do 15 mil instead of 20s if 20s didn't exist. But if I had to start over again, I'd do the same scale. I'd do the same scale because 15 millimeter things aren't as cheap as they should be. It's like if you buy ammunition, right? There's no reason to buy 380. Well, 380 is more expensive than 9 mil, so why have it? It's like it doesn't make any sense. 15 should be, if this costs $10 in 70-second scale, it should cost, you know, 650 and 15. And it doesn't, so like that doesn't make any sense. But I really like the scale because, you know, buildings I can use some HO scale stuff and I'm okay with it. You know, I can pick up a die cast car and work it in. I mean, yeah, it's 1/64th scale, but okay. I've got these die cast vehicles here that, and the rims aren't, though the wheels on them aren't period specific, but the chassis is, you know, and these work in a pinch. These work in a pinch for, this is, I just think the resistance guys got a hold of these. My video and what I'm saying right now is way out of sync. Like, it's off a lot. I don't know why that happened all of a sudden, but hopefully I'm not. Hopefully what I'm saying is showing the picture at the appropriate time. So, but yeah, you could just go to the toy store and hey, I want another vehicle that looks like from the 1940s. All right, how about this one right here? This happens to be a 1940 Ford convertible. And yes, it's over scale. I mean, look, it's as big as a German half track, but it's something you can use. It's not insane out of scale. So, or it doesn't bother me. How about that? So, yeah, I got used to it. And it's always been around. It's other people that just decided to leave. But, people are doing 28s because a lot of the newer players grew up playing Warhammer or something like that. And I didn't. So I don't have this affinity for that other scale, And the 28 millimeter figures have changed a lot since the time that I started doing these things in the last 20 years. There's a lot of 28 millimeter stuff that looks really good. Back then, it was all like heroic looking. It's like everybody's like Arnold, going around. They're just really misproportioned. Now they've gotten a lot better, and there's a lot of variety of different things. So, okay, so. This is, if I do this one, then I'm done with all these damn plasticky half tracks and we can just go do the 3D printed ones, which are better. Better looking anyways. Okay, so this is going to be the same platoons. We got 121, that's a platoon leader, and this one is 123. So this one's probably going to be 124. We're going to make this one 124 at some point. We've got some black lining and some black lining we haven't done. So that's what we're going to go first. Let's go ahead and get that black lining done. Get that out of the way. It's going to need that. And there's a lot of different ways to do these. I didn't do vehicles for the longest time. So by the time I went back to them, there's some real wizards doing some of this stuff. So I'm like, well, these wizards have YouTube channels. Let's see how they do it. what processes they use. Because the last thing I want to do is paint 20 or 30 of these and realize, man, I don't really like the way that I'm doing it. I wish I would have done it the way so and so does it. Well, best thing is let's figure all that out first before I'm unhappy with a bunch of things that I did. So I watched a lot of videos. I watched some guys that do really good work. It takes forever. They look just like a real vehicle. At the end of the day, it didn't work for me because if you have something that looks like a real vehicle, when you put it 2 or 3 feet away from you, it all gets lost. Like it's all like a blur. And that's okay because that's how it would be in real life. But I needed to stand out 2 or 3 feet away. And then there's people that do like super heavy black lighting. So I try to kind of do something in between the two. Um, there's some people that do 1/35th scale models on YouTube, like guys like Night Shift and the other guy. They're both from Eastern Europe. They're incredible. They do vehicles that look better than a real vehicle, but they do stuff like that's realistic. Like they do like these dust. They use like this dust and stuff, and the dust ends up going into nooks and crannies. All right, and the problem with going into nooks and crannies is that you're basically taking the places that would be the darkest and they're actually going to be some of the lightest places because that's where the sand and dust and stuff goes, right? It's like realistic, especially if you're doing stuff for the desert. But the problem is it doesn't work to be able to see something at a distance. It all looks like a blur. So what I actually do is I do the opposite. Um, so like if you're doing tires, right? If you're painting tires, you're going to weather the tire. The part that should have the most dirt on it, as a general rule, is inside the treads. Um, but to do that, you would have to either do a wash. It blends too much. So I actually do the opposite. I actually leave the black and I like leaving black or a dark color in every recess. It makes things stand out. It's almost like when you take a picture, you're like, "Now we need to sharpen this up a little bit, add a little bit of contrast to it, make the panel lines stand out, so that when you're a couple feet away from it, it looks like it's something, other than just be like a just damn blur." But that's just my personal preference. It may not be somebody else's. There's guys that do really good work. It's just not my style of doing it. So I watched lots of different people do their take on vehicles. Some of the stuff that they did, I liked. Some of the stuff they did used way too many products, that had way too many steps. I mean, I already have like 13, I don't even know how many it is, but it's more than a dozen steps. I don't need to do 30 steps. Okay, that's a bit much. I'm not like, okay, paint it gray, dry brush it one color. No, no, we need more than that. But we also don't need to, do multiple filters and stuff like that. So I was watching some guy that did pretty good work, looked like it was pretty quick. And I believe it was Sonic Sledgehammer from Australia. And he does much better videos than me. I'm not a video guy. I just paint shit and run my mouth. He does professional level type videos and stuff. And he started using this thing called, I was going to do Shermans. I'm like, okay, how do you make a Sherman look interesting? Because it's pretty much just one color. And he gave it this wash of Agrax Earthshade. And I liked how that looked. And it looked pretty simple. And I have Agrax Earthshade locally. So let's try that. And it was like blammo. And there's a couple of things that I got from him because I liked the way he handled, some of the color choices. And there's some stuff that I probably would not have chosen on my own to do them a certain way, and they were really successful. One of the reasons, if you got like olive drab or something like that, and you want to lighten it, I believe he's the one that said mix in dark sand into the color instead of like using white, which is what I would have done, because that's what I do on figures. But it works on figures because figures are cloth, so cloth's going to fade. Cloth's going to fade a lot more than paint on a tank. And so I got some good ideas from him, and That's what the internet really is very helpful for this hobby because you can see other people's take on things and then maybe it helps you out or maybe it realizes maybe you won't make that mistake because somebody else can make it for you. Like, man, I thought he was on the right track, but it turned out in a way that I really wasn't happy with. So let's not do it that way. It gives you some other insights. You don't have to we're not all trying to invent the wheel at the same time. I mean, everybody's got some good ideas. I was just watching some video the other day about how to take care of your brushes, and I'm like shaking my head like this guy doesn't know about using hand sanitizer. Using rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol isn't worth a shit compared to hand sanitizer. The hand sanitizer is like a freaking miracle. That's why when I discovered, I'm like, I gotta make a video about this. I don't know how many people have watched it, but I mean, it's something that everybody's got laying around, or at least they used to. It's cheap. But I'm also suspect of when people make videos and they're edited so heavily. You're wondering, it's like, okay, we want to make this video and we want to push this narrative. So let's mess everything up so that it basically it shows the results we want them to have. And I'm like, I'm always skeptical of people doing stuff like that. That's why I'm like, I'm just going to do a live video and maybe I'll spill something or cut myself or but at least you know that what I'm showing you is not edited. Because I didn't think that was that big of a deal, but man, there's a lot of stuff that you see on the internet that's just bullshit. They're just feeding you full of bullshit. It's like wrestling. Oh, it's real. Oh, it's real, all right, but it's staged. You know, and I don't want it to appear that way. But there's all kinds of stuff you could learn from other people. There's a couple of people on Facebook. One of them in particular, I was realizing, I'm like, how am I Facebook friends with this person? And all this person ever posts is like, buy this guide of how to do this thing. And they do good work. Don't get me wrong, but it's like that always their shtick is just trying to sell crap for you to buy. And yeah, it doesn't excite me. I don't want people spending their money on it. Just like I don't want to be sponsored. Not that people have walked around and sponsored me, but I like buying stuff legitimately from somebody. And if it's crap, I'll tell you if it's crap. And if it isn't, I'm gonna sing their praises. You know, like this guy that 3D prints the stuff for me. Not for me. It makes it sound like he gives it to me for free. But what's his name? Um, Iron Horse Collectibles. He does great work. And he makes things right. There's a couple things that I've gotten that didn't come out well. He's like, "Hey, I'll replace that for you." I'm like, "Don't do it now, man. Don't screw yourself on the shipping. Let's just add it to the next order if I need it." I don't mind fixing things that happen in transit and stuff if it can be done. If it's something I can't fix and I gotta have it, that's a little different. But I don't want to be like, "Oh, you're sponsored by that guy, and he's really a purveyor of garbage." But I got to shut my mouth because he's sending me free miniatures. I don't want to be that guy. Everybody else can be that guy. I don't want to be that person. I want to be somebody that if I'm using a paint and they change the formula and it's going to shit, I want to call them out on it and tell them, "Hey, this paint, don't buy it anymore. It's garbage." Not like, "Well, man, they're giving me free paint. I better shut my mouth." That's just dishonor. That's just not how I live my life. That's a really annoying thing. You got people that never make a good product. Pactra. But you got others that made great stuff. And then they're like, "Yeah, let's try to get more money out of people. So let's cut corners." Yeah, if you got to charge more money, make a good product. But if you got to charge more money, but not this we're going to charge more money and we cut a bunch of corners and it's garbage now. Like, that's not a reasonable, solution for me. Make things correctly. Do them as best you can. I don't know how this got delayed as much as it did. It was like 7 seconds. Creators adopted live automated mid-rolls. Nope. I do not want mid-rolls on my videos. I could double my income. Yeah, and annoy the shit out of everybody. Like, I've left channels because they're mid-roll. Or that programming that, is made with commercials. And when you get to the commercial, it stops. And then when you come back from it, it spends 45 seconds talking about what led up to that. Like, if somebody just showed up, they'd be able to follow up. I'm like, I don't do stuff like that. Like, let's just keep the ball rolling. Anywho. I really enjoy doing the black lining. I find it very, very relaxing. All right, we're going to need to drop a line on the back of this this door, because there's a door here that leads to the outside, but no line for it on the inside. Like, we'll just paint a door on here, and the German Panzer Grenadiers think they can get out, and they can't. Ha 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 ha. But I don't play Flames of War. I don't like the rule set. It's a little too. I'm past that point. I need something that's got a little bit more, not proprietary, but that feels more like the real thing. But I love their website. Their website's great. They got lots of really good articles that are, based in reality, not necessarily gamey stuff. But I'm new to people that make miniatures and rules for them. That's like a conflict of interest for me. Guys, it's almost 10. All right, I probably need to cut it for tonight because we still need to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. All right, folks, thanks for coming by, and appreciate your interaction, and we'll see you guys on the next one, which will be tomorrow morning. All right, folks, have a good evening. Bye-bye.